Welcome everyone. This video is going to be demonstrating the new wireless rechargeable capacitor using Tesla's 336961 standard ferrite rod, nothing special there. And to recharge them, all you have to do is sit them on if I take this one away, it might not be so hard to see what's going on. And so all you really need to do is have the ferrite rod slightly extended, more at one end, and that dips down inside the center of that coil. It's a bit hard to see, but it's extending down into the coil there, and it allows it to take charge. So what I'll do is we'll move to a better camera, and I'll give you a breakdown on these, and as always, schematic at the end. Alright, over to a different camera. So the first one, so as you can see, it's just Tesla's coil, and it's just the one winding there, and all I've done is attach the positive and negative from that coil, again schematics will be at the end, to the capacitor. Now the capacitor itself is a 2.7 volt 500 farad, and on this one I've got the green LED, which is nice and bright, and the green one I took that off the charge. It lasted 26 hours. So an interesting note, I was surprised that it would even run, because the capacitors are 2.7 and the LED is 3.2. It'll probably work quite dim down at 2.7 volts, but it shouldn't be capable of running the full 24 hours. So I'm almost certain that there's an oscillation, like a self-oscillation occurring at the moment, but as I've stated before, I don't have any expensive equipment that I could measure that with reliably, so I'm just going to have to assume that that's part and parcel as to why it's able to run, why it's able to run so bright, and why it's able to run so long. This coil is continuing to self-oscillate there. And then the other one is a 1 watt LED. Now this one goes flat really quick. It's probably not appropriate to have such a powerful LED on that. Again, keeping in mind 2.7 volt capacitor with a 3.2 volt light. These 1 watt LEDs are supposed to have one of these little lenses, and I just took this from the light that I got the LED out of. It was an old 240 volt, or 85 volts up to 240 volt LED, and they had 3 in there, and then they have these little lenses, and so if you put that on there, that changes it quite drastically. It just gives it a focus, a focal point, and so you get a brighter, more functional light. But with this one I wound, it's the same patent, Tessa's 336961. With this one I put it sideways. I was just trying out a couple of different things. That one stands a little bit better than the other one, but then when it comes time to recharging, as you saw on my charger, this one is a bit tricky because you've got to upend it, place it down inside the hole. So in hindsight I would probably not use the 1 watt LEDs. If you wanted to use the 1 watt LEDs, I mean it'll function like this for about an hour, but it rapidly diminishes in power. You can even see it's diminishing just in this short period. It stays on for about an hour, whereas this one's 24 hours. So what I might do is just go down to a 20 mA LED for this one. It's either that or place a second capacitor here. So just probably a good idea would be to wire these up and place them in some like PVC tube or something like that. But I just thought they were rather convenient. I only have to place them back. Now the first charge, so I wired them up with the LED there as well. I know that this puts out more than the 2.7 volts, so the LED is sort of like a voltage limiter. It caps it off at that. It can't really exceed that. It can get nice and bright, but it can't really exceed that because it keeps consuming the power. Now charging it that way is really slow, but I needed to do it that way to be sure that I didn't overcharge the capacitor, because that'll get quite hot. So it's just easier doing it this way. It took an entire day for the first time to charge them, but something really strange is I can go and put this on the charger again after I'm finished talking, and it only takes an hour to recharge. So it's a bit confusing. This one's been off charge for a little while and it's starting to run out of juice. But yeah, I would have thought with the 1 watt one, when I excuse me, when I realized that it was using too much power and really needs a second capacitor, I decided to place it back on charge, and that was when I realized it was only an hour to recharge it as opposed to taking the whole day. Like this morning when I woke up, they were off charge all night and this thing was barely on. It was still on but barely on, and yeah, I figured I put it back on charge and just figured it would take a day to charge it up like it did the first time, but something's occurring there that allowed it to charge within an hour. I've charged it again since then and it took only an hour. So I'm not really sure why it took a day the first time and then each subsequent charge is only an hour. Perhaps it's that last bit of charge, you know, it drops down to a certain voltage where the light's not functional, but there's still a majority of that capacity still remains within the capacitor. So alright, well that's pretty much it. You've seen how to recharge them, and these could probably recharge off other systems as well, so you could probably even use that with the Super Jewel Ringer. I imagine you could. I haven't tried, but I imagine you could, as long as this coil here is resonant with the coil you're trying to couple it with. So same number of turns, same length of wire, then you should be good. But yeah, I think they're quite handy. Again, I think they'd be best suited in like a PVC tube or something like that, that makes it more like a functional torch and have the light up the top. I'll fit, I'll make another one rather than destroy this one. I'll attach a second capacitor to this one, see if that alleviates the slow runtime, and I'll just build another one with a standard white LED. Yeah, that's going flat now. She's been off charge for a while, probably about 40 minutes now. So I'll go put that back on in an hour. That'll be as bright as it was when you saw it. Okay, with the magic of editing, I have time traveled once again. Now, come back to I made the edit rather than just say what you could do, because this one before I had only operating off with a single capacitor and it would go flat too quickly, and so I added a second capacitor. To be honest, it probably could do with a third one. 1 watt is a considerable amount of power to be pulling from a capacitor, but the added benefit is it can be recharged rapidly. This was flat like just a couple of minutes ago, and I was able to use my Radiant energy charger to charge this up in about 2 minutes. It was fully charged, and that might be considered slow considering that they're capacitors, but keep in mind the load's still on there. So and I recommend charging it that way, because if you don't, you're going to not be able to regulate that light will act as sort of like a voltage limiter. Without it, you could easily overcharge the capacitors, because this coil alone will produce a higher voltage than 2.7 volts. So you could put a switch there to turn the light off. In my opinion, it's just safer if you don't. So this probably wasn't fully charged because it's already starting to get dimmer, but it's nice and bloody bright and has the added convenience of being wirelessly rechargeable. Back to the other version of me. Alright, thanks for watching. Please like, share, subscribe. Have a nice day.